Hey everybody, welcome to Bearded Baker Banter. We will start today off with a little college basketball discussion, just to close things up real quick. We will get into some MLB as that really is kind of hitting the ground running right now. A lot of games, a lot of days here. Then we were actually going to dive into the Masters, which will be starting, depending on when you're listening to this, Thursday. So after that, we'll kind of get into just some miscellaneous stuff, maybe some NFL stuff, and anything else that we might get into about sports. So, welcome Trent, welcome Trey.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello, friends. It's a tradition like no other.
Oh, all right, Jimmy. Jimmy Nance, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, how about his sign off the other day?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, but
That's
hold
touching.
on, but hold on though, real quick. This is completely off topic. Did any of
It's
you?
on topic. It's Final Four. Come on
But
now.
yeah,
That's what
but
we're
did
starting
any of you see the awkwardness of Jim Nance with his microphone? The guy from the NCAA was there, and when they're trying to give the trophies out to UConn, and how like jammed in they were, the guy literally was like resting his shoulder on or his chin on Jim Nance's shoulder because he literally looked at him like, "Dude, I can't get out. Like, I don't know what to do."
And you would have thought with how big that stadium was, they could have gave maybe like a little bit bigger platform for all of them to stand on.
Yes, exactly. Dude, it was so funny looking because you could see both. Jim Nance is like, I don't know where you want me to go, and the guy from NCAA is like making these big eyes, like I literally can't move. Like, I mean, I tried to take a picture, and he was like, he's just resting his chin right on his little shoulder there, while Jim Nance is speaking and giving the trophies and talking to Hurley.
Oh my
awesome.
gosh, yeah. All those big D1 basketball players on there too.
Oh, absolutely. It was hilarious. But yeah, so a little recap here with March Madness as we now say goodbye to the 22-23 season.
Yeah, it's a bittersweet moment. I mean, so exciting to get to the national title game and see how it pans out, but just knowing it's the end of the season just, really, really kind of hurts. But ironically, I think the championship game was one of the least entertaining of all the games in the tournament this year.
Sound like every other sports media person.
No. I'm not siding with them and their critique of college basketball in general. I just mean the championship game. It just wasn't as entertaining as what I would have wished as some like the previous Florida Atlantic and San Diego State game, for instance.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean,
how you going to top a buzzer beater?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
but even just something similar, like a back and forth, multiple lead changes, that kind of stuff. But to be fair, though, and UConn, all their games are kind of boring because they just blew the shit out of all these teams. So
I was going to say the same thing, is that you really couldn't have an exciting UConn game.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they won by the win margin was double digits or over double digits in every game, I think.
Yeah, they won
But I gotta say though, if you're a UConn fan, you're not mad about it. I know if that was ever Duke's situation where you could go through the entire tournament with each game being a non-sweater,
Yeah, that's a fan's dream.
Yeah, I mean
a non-sweater, unlike Trent with his shirt off.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, winter's over, Tyler. Winter's over.
Wait, Trey or Ty, you talking about their mascot, Huskies?
No, then you might be talking about me.
Goodness.
Oh,
well,
man. But
with this said, I mean, it was a good tournament, but I think we have to get right to the elephant in the room.
Yep.
UConn has now tied Duke for the most modern day national championships with 5 national championships. And the ongoing question in college basketball is, do you consider UConn now to be a blue blood?
So I do really quick want to just say that I'm pretty sure that Michael Wilbon actually heard one of our podcasts, one of our last 2, because let's be honest, I haven't heard anybody else in sports media really talk about this blue blood situation except for us. I'm not saying we're first, but we're first. So thanks Wilbon for the listen.
Roll the tapes, Wilbon. Roll the tapes.
But Trent mentioned the fact that UConn is now tied with Duke. We're also looking at Kansas with 4 national titles. They are number 1 all-time program with wins. But yeah, in question, I found just doing some research and stuff online. I don't know if it was a blog or a podcast called like Second Takes or something, and the person kind of put out some resumes about some stuff. So it was interesting to really kind of look at it. Is UConn is 5 national titles. They have now 6 Final Four appearances. They have 4 titles in the last 24 years. 5 titles in the last 24 years. And they also have down that they missed the NCAA tournament 10 times since 1990.
Big bingo.
So that's kind of a big stat. Looking at some of the other ones too that they had in question, they had Indiana, they had Villanova, and they also had Michigan State up there too.
Well, can I read a couple additional stats that you're naming off that I was very, very close to being on board to saying, yeah, UConn's a blue blood. Mm-hmm. I think if you consider championships, yeah, they have to be in the conversation. But if you go past championships and you look at consistency, that's where I think they pull them. That's where you can consider them not a blue blood. Right. They've also, in the modern day era had 22 double-digit loss seasons.
22?
16.
Hold on, what did you say, 22?
22 double-digit loss seasons.
Since when?
Since the modern era.
Basketball era.
The modern era is considered 85 into 86 because that is when the tournament expanded to 64 teams.
I got you. I just didn't know. I didn't know when it went back to it.
Also the shot clock, also the 3-point line.
I was going to say 3-point line, yeah.
Yeah. So they also missed 16 total tournaments. I mean, I look at, you could even narrow it down where if you do look at, UConn over just the last 14 seasons. Mm-hmm. Of the last 14 seasons, 50% of the time they missed the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but a North Carolina, a Duke,
Kentucky,
and Kansas, that does not happen.
UCLA even.
So, yeah. And I think that's where I know some people will say, yeah, but look at recency. Duke hasn't won it since 15. Carolina, I think 17.
Yep. Kentucky was 12.
Understand that, but I look at it and say, yeah, but blue bloods, and I'm biased because I'm a Duke fan. I'm a blue blood fan. But I think blue bloods are going to face everybody's best night. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
me saying that, like when you see those blue bloods on the schedule, guess what? Your school's student section who doesn't show up for another game all year, or the fair weather fans,
right,
they're going to be showing up for those games when you see a Carolina, Kentucky, a Duke, a Kansas.
Yep.
So that's my take. Is I'm actually championship wise, I see it. If that's what we're going as our overall, then sure. I think they are like the blue blood line. But when you look at consistency, I'm gonna lean more towards. I can't say you are.
That 22 season thing about with a losing season. Is that what you said? 22 losing seasons?
No. 22 seasons with double-digit losses.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty significant amount of time. So.
Yeah, Trent, I'm glad you brought all those stats up because looking at all those stats, I think we were a little too lenient with our term blue blood talking about Villanova and UConn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'll be the first one right now to backtrack my comment. I changed my mind, and I do not no longer consider Villanova a blue blood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think having almost 30 years in between their championships, and like you guys just mentioned, not consistently doing well in the regular season.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine hearing that statistic about Duke or Kentucky or UNC about the 22 double-digit loss seasons. When I read that, that was kind of mind-blown.
Yeah.
And Trent, your statistic about missing the tournament, half the time, and the last how many years?
Last 14 seasons.
Yeah, so that's also pretty eye-opening. I didn't know that one, and And to me, that's not the quality of a blue blood program. So yeah, I think we were very, very off the mark in our discussions of what qualifies a blue blood, and if UConn and Villanova are, because I no longer consider either of them a blue blood. So
the other thing too to mention, and this is coming from that Second Take blog that I checked out, was, the one guy had for Kentucky and Duke at least, how many 5-stars that they actually got to their school. And Kentucky's number one with 59 since 2000, and Duke is second with 48 since 2000.
yeah.
So,
and
I mean, that also kind of shows you, Duke and Kentucky have also had a ton of one-and-dones, because of that,
right.
Which could kind of, look at, Kentucky hasn't won the championships since 12, Duke since 15. I mean, I'm not saying that that's a direct effect, but I don't know. I mean, I think you may start to see, NIL is going to definitely impact some things. I think you're going to start to see.
Portal.
Well, yeah, transfer portal is obviously changing the game completely. But I'm saying about guys staying in school now, longer, and helping out with some of these championship teams. I mean, Baycott, again, it's kind of the Drew Timme of North Carolina, where he might actually turn 40 by the time he graduates. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that you are seeing that a lot. Whether it's with the same school or not is a whole different question. But I don't know. I mean, it does go to, and I don't know. You can always get the conversation of who's the greatest of all time with anything, and what do you measure it by? One big super standard that I always measure it by is championships. How many championships do you have? And I mean, is that the only one? Not necessarily, but if it is just championships, then yeah, I think UConn's up there.
Yeah.
But if you look at
a
complete
Tyler,
resume,
that's why it seems so idiotic to argue that UConn is not a blue blood after they just won their 5th title, right?
Right.
But I mean, and it sounds maybe like contrarian or whatever, but I truly do think the regular season and how often you get to the tournament matters.
Yeah.
I think if you were to take UConn's postseason success and you were to take Gonzaga's regular season success, that's a blue blood program.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Gonzaga, year in, year out, they're a 5-loss team tops, maybe 6 or 7, but
with no championships.
No championships. Not to say they're not successful in the postseason, but they have no championships. So
can I ask you guys a question here? When we say championships and postseason, are you considering at all even just how you perform in your conference championships?
Yeah,
no.
Because
no,
I don't.
I mean, it's tournament play. It's your conference, the teams that know you the best.
Can I say something? Unless you win your conference tournament, no one remembers how the team did it the year before.
I will say
you know
this.
What I'm saying?
I will say this.
So that's what I'm saying. So that is important if they win their conference tournament.
Well, that's the only way it's important.
Indiana, a team with 5 national championships.
Yeah.
Right? Indiana has 5 national championships. They're a team that's always up for question. Again, going back to, does the team have to be blue to be a blue blood? I don't know.
Indiana's not a blue blood.
But what I'm saying though is that's been a team that's been questioned to be a blue blood, and one of those stats was that they had 0 conference championships.
I don't even need to waste my breath on Indiana.
They have 5 championships. It's the same as UConn. So I mean,
not in the modern era. Not in the modern era.
Either just okay. So UCLA is a blue blood. Last time they won was 1995.
I don't consider.
And hold on, it is
Tyler,
modern era because
Tyler's making an argument.
Indiana, okay. Hold on, because Indiana last won in '87, which what you just said is modern era. That's a modern era championship.
Okay, how many modern era championships for Indiana?
Well, you said they didn't win any.
How many? No,
I don't know.
One.
If it's from '86, I'm not sure the team that they won in '86.
I'm not saying they didn't win any. All right, I'm just saying Indiana and UCLA, the majority of their championships have come before the modern era.
That's fine.
So Trent, in your eyes, is UCLA a blue blood?
I would say in the modern era, no. I don't consider, because here's my thing.
The last was 95.
Okay, let me finish here. If we're talking pre-modern era, Duke was not a blue blood because all of their national championships came post-modern era.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
so I'm
we could have a
going-
whole
Yeah.
podcast episode off
I
this
know.
And we
debate.
are,
I feel like.
and we are. We're taking a lot with it, but I mean, I look at it right now. Is in modern era basketball, since this tournament expanded to 64 teams, those are the national championships that truly count. Now we can't. Hold on. Let me get my point in. I understand that we can't say that those teams didn't win a championship. But in the March Madness format, the way that it is present day, I would have to say those are the most meaningful championships at this point.
Sure.
Because when you do look at UCLA and the schools that they played during their prime, and once again, we can't hold it against them. It was the talent that was there, and that they had to play against. But the game has changed, guys. When you now can make a bucket that's worth 3 points, and now you have a shot clock. I mean, we're going to see an addition to the modern era, another sequence here with NIL, right? We went the one and done era.
Yeah.
Now we've hit a little bit of the transfer portal era.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're hitting the NIL era.
Mm-hmm.
So I think right now, from the first expansion on, this is college basketball now. So those are the championships in my mind. If it was March Madness bracket, those are the ones that mean the most.
Those are some pretty quick eras too, though. Like, let's be honest.
So it sounds like to me, Trent only has 2 or 3 blue bloods in his.
Nope. I have, because I do consider what happened in the past to some degree. I do believe Kentucky's a blue blood. Kansas is absolutely a blue blood because they not only have the most wins in college basketball history, but they still have 3 national championships. And they went on that streak of winning their regular season conference and conference tournament how many years in a row? North Carolina's absolutely a blue blood. You can't take any of that away. Did they miss the tournament this year? Yes. Fluke year. All right. Duke is a blue blood as well. I think there's 4. I really do think there's 4, and that's it. So that's going to be my final statement. I know we can keep arguing, but I'm saying Duke, Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky, they are the bluest of the blue bloods.
Yeah, I agree with what you say, Trent, but I throw in UCLA in there. I think that what they've done as a franchise with their win streak, with their titles, and I'm sorry, but you can't just – those titles happened. They won those titles. They earned them. I mean, some might even argue that it's harder without a 3-point line to win a title. You know what I mean? So, not saying that talent's not better now. I can guarantee you there's more talent, more competition now, but those titles still happened, and they were hard in their own right. So
it's interesting. I am intrigued at that as your statement, because there's a very significant other argument with the LeBron James, Will Chamberlain, that you take the opposite standpoint. So,
I absolutely do, because basketball is a team sport.
Okay. Hey, I was going to make kind of a goofy argument, too, just about Trent. You mentioned Kansas having the most wins all time. I mean, come on. They had the most chances. James Naismith was the inventor of basketball, so it's been there for the longest. But then I actually just looked something up. Here you go. You ready for this? Only losing basketball coach in Kansas history. Like, overall record.
Oh, wow.
So I can't even use that as an argument.
Wow.
He probably couldn't pay his players as much as Bill Self can.
Right? He was 55 and 60
NIL.
overall, James Naismith.
Yeah.
Little basketball history for you. So, hey, let's...
All right, can we do one last thing?
Yeah, then we're going to jump into
research, just based on what you saw this year. Consideration that guys aren't done yet or declared yet completely. I know there's been a lot coming back, a lot going forward. Give me, and this will be it for me for college basketball. I don't have anything else to discuss unless we have something on the agenda. But give me your way too soon Final Four.
Ooh, Final Four?
Give me your way too soon Final Four.
All right.
Go ahead, Trey.
Okay, I'm going to go with Duke. I will go with...
I knew I loved you, Trey.
I'm going to go with Arkansas. Ooh, this gets a little tough. I will go with. Oh man, I'm gonna go with USC.
It's a terrible pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that 4?
And then, yep, no, that was 3. So I got Duke, Arkansas, USC, and then I'm gonna go Texas.
Okay. Trent, where are you going?
Oh, I asked the question. You can go next.
Still kind of considering, but that's fine.
Okay, I'll jump in. I'll jump in here. I'm going. Ready for this? You guys, oh come on, Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, and Miami.
Okay.
Interesting.
Miami, guys, I didn't realize this. Miami, and maybe I read this wrong. They, unless they declare Isaiah Wong, ACC Player of the Year, coming back. Nigel Pack is back. And then I can't really pronounce the big guy who sprained his ankle real bad against Duke. He's back. And then don't you think for a second that Jim Larinaga is not going to pull some talent in through the transfer portal.
I agree.
So I feel like Miami could be back in there, and they're consistent. And they've taken a step each year now. So maybe that's that next step.
All right. Bias aside, I'm leaving Duke out of mine, but I'm going to go Miami. I think Carolina's going to be back. I feel like the safest bet is to take ACC teams to make the Final Four, so there's 2.
Hey, good job. Thank you. You got my plug in for my
I'm gonna go Kansas, and I'm gonna say Alabama.
Okay.
So there's mine: Miami, Carolina, Kansas, Alabama. So,
Yep.
all right. Moving to the baseball diamond. So how have you guys been feeling about baseball?
Wow.
It's kind of interesting. I'm not used to the fast-paced basketball games at night not being on anymore. I catch myself, obviously watching some of these baseball games late, and it's like, a lot of the games I'm betting on. Are you guys finding anything comfort-wise to bet on? Anything surprise you so far with the MLB? Because I know that there's some teams that have really pissed me off, and then there's also just some teams that I'm like, holy hell, like let's ride with these guys. So. What are you guys seeing with baseball at this point? I know it's only about 6 games into the season, 7 games into the season, but
I can tell you 2 things to note. The 2 rule changes this year are having a huge impact on the game, and I think honestly for the better.
How do you see, like, what do you see that's changed? Because obviously,
one, I think the pace of the game itself is extremely faster.
Think it's better for the game?
Tyler, it's funny you asked that. So I was a huge advocate against the pitch clock. Also kind of an advocate against the shift ban too. But I think the pitch clock, now that I'm watching games on TV, it really does make the game a lot easier to watch and more interesting to watch. You don't have the timeouts constantly happen in the batter's box. But the thing I noticed the most is in between base hits. Yeah. You don't have the pitcher walking around the mound 3 times, the guy doing his 2-minute long routine before he gets in the box.
Feel personally attacked.
You see a play, gets to the pitcher, and bang, you got to get on the mound and get ready to pitch. So, wasn't a fan of it to start in the spring training, but big fan of it now. Also, the shift. There's just more base hits.
Yeah.
And hits that should be base hits if there isn't a shift. So, players that I think were taken advantage of by the shift are now starting to look like the old selves. You know what I mean? Joey Gallo, for example, for the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those 2 rule changes wasn't a fan of, but ultimately I think they're a positive for the game.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm indifferent. Still, I think that if you're really going to make the pitcher rush, I think they at least need to let him use sticky stuff. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think I think
it's
the
such
calling
a
us.
mental game though.
Guys,
That's why I'm like, I don't know.
This just in. We just got a brand new follower, and he just tweeted us saying he's the biggest fan of our podcast. Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole just tweeted. He heard that comment, Tyler. He's listening live. Man, he said, "Yes, I like these guys." All right.
No, I don't know. I just think it is such a mental game. I mean, sports is always mental in a lot of aspects of things. I think. I don't know. You could argue and make the thing. Okay, well, it's the same as the shot clock. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I don't know. I do see, like Trey, like you said, it's definitely faster paced. As somebody that used to be a pitcher that was a head case and would be the guy that walked around for 3 minutes until I actually got set. I mean, I don't know. I kind of, if that was me, I'd be stressed out. I mean, you have to change your routine. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely, yeah.
That's sometimes frustrating, especially for athletes. So
yeah, but you know what? You gotta adapt to come up with a new routine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Baseball was losing its reputation as our pastime, in my opinion, and they're making an attempt to to energize the game a little bit, I guess you could say, with the pace. And I'm a fan. I think. One, I know there's a lot of people against the shift saying, well, learn how to hit. I mean, with what some of these pitchers can bring night in, night out, I mean, easier said than done.
And not only, I mean, that's like the hand-eye coordination quintessential.
So, and then to tell them to hit it absolutely somewhere opposite where they're shifting. Now, I like the shift from the aspect of, hey, they use analytics, they game plan, they charted. There were people that got paid to do that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not against it. I'm just let's try it out this year, see how it does. I think the thing that the pitch clock does for us as well is maybe you guys will disagree, but I think teams are more aggressive in the base paths.
Yeah.
So they're taking chances, getting guys in scoring position more often, more frequently. I love it. I would love to see, personally, more of the small ball approach from MLB guys. Yeah, I mean, it's like, get your guys over. How many times, these pitchers, they're getting paid big bucks because they have really, really good control.
Yeah.
They know, guy's on first, I will make sure that this guy grounds into a double play. So I'm for it. I got to say the biggest surprise for me right now and disappointment would be seeing the Phillies have a big old goose egg in their win column.
They got one. They have one.
Yeah, they got one
Yesterday.
No, did they get it yesterday?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think against the Yankees, right?
Yeah,
so they got it against. So that was disheartening to see how much of a hangover they had there to start. Then they lost tonight, so that's tough. You can't. I mean, I know it's 162 games or something, but come on, like you can't start like that. Although the team that everyone thought would be up, the Mets, they're not doing much better. So it's looking like the Braves are going to take it.
It's absolutely going to be the Braves.
So I thought that was something that shocked me. I'm biased. I'm all on the Orioles train this year. 500, starting off okay, facing some good pitching on the road, some solid teams. So I don't know. I'm going to continue to track my team totals, looking at the pitching matchups. I'm going to continue to follow my first half bets, whether it be totals and runs and run lines. Big fan on taking the dog on the first half run lines, but if it's an ace pitcher, you can't be afraid to take the half a point. That's just my opinion on baseball at this point. Still a lot of information to be collected until you start to get, I say this very tentatively, any sort of confidence in betting something consistently there.
Yeah.
So
yeah. To be fair, Trent, I don't think you can ever get confident betting baseball.
No.
I mean, to start the season, don't get me wrong, very, very small sample size, but I placed a couple bets the last 2 days where I thought were even just not even the best odds, but I thought they were guaranteed winners just based off the past couple games and statistics that have been out. But I mean, I was dead wrong on all these bets, and I'm looking and I have just no idea. It's just so hard to find like a little niche that you can. Yeah.
That's
And like, I mean, Tyler, like you like K props, which are yeah, and I'm still trying to find whether I like the first half money lines, first half over unders, team total over unders.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that kind of stuff. I think once I get a rhythm and find something that I'm able to
Sure.
study more consistently, then it'll get easier. But yeah, it's pretty frustrating and definitely not confident at all.
The one thing I wanted to kind of mention too, and Trent, you brought it up about being aggressive on the base pass. And there's also a rule about how many times you can throw at a guy from the mound to try to pick him off. I believe it's 2.
Wow.
And on the third one, if you don't, again, don't quote me on that, but I know there's a certain limit because I was watching the game the other night and they were like, well, the new rule is if he throws over again, he's got to get him. And if he doesn't get him, then he automatically, then it's called, I think it's a balk. I think is what they're considering it. And the next play, and this was, kind of going to the strategy of it. It's the guy took off and he got the base and, the pitch wasn't good. It was like, I don't know. I mean, I didn't know how I felt about it, but I'm like, wow, okay, that kind of changed the game a lot where he knows for a fact I just got thrown at twice. Guess what? If he doesn't throw here, you know what I mean? It's like that's a big difference.
Yeah.
In terms of surprises, I think a surprise in terms more for teams for me is looking at teams like the Astros, the Mets, and even the Giants and the Phillies too. Really kind of being on the bottom half of things. Again, it's 6-7 games into it. But I'll tell you one thing. Tampa Bay, the Rays. My early Cy Young pick, man, is definitely going to be McClanahan. That's my guy right now. I based a couple of bets just strictly on the fact that he's pitched now. Both times he's pitched, just knowing that I've had some confidence in him last year. I did, as Trey mentioned about my K props, I'm always hesitant, with K props. I went on a huge run, 2 years ago. I think I hit like 16 in a row or something.
Yeah.
And then I got really cold.
Law of averages.
Yeah. Been kind of hesitant. I did take the over 5.5 from McClanahan today, which he did hit with 6. But yeah, Tampa Bay being the last undefeated team, and then you got Atlanta at 501, Milwaukee
plus
501.
900 at hit.
Right. I think the other team that I don't want to say it's surprising is, again, I refuse to call them by their mascot name, but the Cleveland team. They being 5-2, they're put together pretty nicely. So that's a team to keep an eye on. And I know Trent, you had mentioned being all in on the Twins on some things too.
I think they're going to be better than people think in the long term.
Yeah.
They got they picked up some good pitching at the trade deadline last year. And their bats, although they've hit a little rough patch here the past 2 games with the Marlins, but then again, when you face a Alcantara who throws a shutout 9 innings game, I mean, what are you gonna do? That guy's a beast.
Well, it pissed me off though because he didn't pitch that well the first game. I put my bet on him and didn't hit, but just some trends right now too in terms of betting. In case you guys are wondering, this comes from Team Rankings. I know we use this for March Madness stuff too, but right now, in terms of team to cover the run line, it's pretty consistent with win-loss because obviously there's only a 7-game season so far. But Tampa Bay's tops right now in terms of covering it with an average run line of plus 3.5. So 3.7. The Braves come in at second. They're 5-1, 83% cover the run line, and they're at plus 2.5. So just some things, that's some run line. And then the Twins are actually third, followed by the Brewers, and then the Orioles.
There you go.
Over/under teams right now, in terms of total runs. The team that you're seeing with the overs the most, at 6-1 is Houston. They right now are covering the over at 85.7%. Next is Chicago White Sox, which doesn't really surprise me. Well, actually, it kind of does. They do have some good hitters, but their pitching.
Can I say something before you move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
The White Sox are going to be, I think, my team to bet this year.
Yeah, that was
I
my
love
team 2 years ago.
their roster. I love their pitching staff. And Tyler, you said McClanahan being Cy Young. I think Dylan Cease has an argument.
Yep, he's my second pitcher that I usually bet on.
Yeah, he looks. I mean, he's only had 2 starts, but he looks lights out, and he looks like he's untouchable this year so far. So I mean, he's a stud.
Yeah. So that's.
Will Lance Lynn return to his normal self this year?
Whew.
It's a good question. He's on the bump tomorrow.
Is he?
You know, I think Lance Lynn overperformed for 2 straight seasons. I think what he's doing now is normal Lance Lynn.
Okay.
Wow.
I
think pretty good first outing.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's not a good pitcher, but I think the guy that's going to step up for him is Lucas Giolito, who's already a stud on their pitching staff.
Dude, their pitching staff is stacked.
Oh well, Mikey Clevenger, man, he has so much potential. He's bounced around from a couple different teams like the last couple of years, but
he was Padre last year.
Yeah. Started out as a Clevelander.
I will say this too. I'll double check my stats and stuff on this, but I obviously, like I said, talk a lot about betting, with pitchers against pitchers and things of that sort. But there is a guy that I've been putting in some same game parlays too, coming from the White Sox, Trey, and that is Tim Anderson.
Okay.
Just to get a hit now. Last 2 games, he's actually been 0 for 4 and 0 for 2. But before that, he was, he had a hit, then he had 2 hits, 2 hits, 2 hits, 3 games in a row. So, he's a guy, if you're looking for some sort of hit bet or hit prop bet kind of thing, just to get a hit, Tim Anderson is a guy there, the shortstop for the White Sox. So, just somebody to keep an eye on, too. But, anything else baseball-wise, guys? Like I said,
just be patient. Be patient with baseball. That's the thing. You don't want to be. It can be tough, on a Saturday when you see a whole bunch of games lined up starting early. But pick and choose.
Yeah, I think to touch on Trent mentioned about America's pastime, and with baseball and stuff, and how they're kind of losing their way. I mean, when you think about a lot of these professional sports, like. Take your baseballs, take your NBAs, take your, hockeys, NHL. I mean, these are long seasons. And, a lot of times when you look at it, you think about society as it is. I mean, everybody likes things as fast as possible, and there's not a whole lot of patience, and when you got seasons that are this long, I feel like you'll just lose interest. It's like you start out really excited. Hey, it's opening day, or hey, it's the first. Hey, it's this, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, wow. 6 months later, all right, hey, then it's playoffs. And it's like, you see people get amped up, and I just think that's people's attention span. And maybe condense it a little bit. I mean, I do think that that's one of the reasons too that you see, say the Super Bowl is, in my opinion, the greatest championship, in sports. It's one game, it's win or lose, it's not a 7-game series, it's not this or that, but I would also make the argument too, and I know this is controversial to Bussin' with the Boys with Will Compton, but I would argue that March Madness is the second greatest, in terms of things. He made some comments about the overrated, Will Compton made some comments about March Madness being overrated, and I think he couldn't be further from it, or, from being wrong, because I think his argument was that, you're not getting the best of the best. Anybody can beat anybody and be in the championship. And I feel like that's sports.
Yep.
Like, that is literally the epitome of sports, is that you come out and put your best effort out there to win a championship.
Yeah, talk about just an awful, awful take by him.
I couldn't believe it was said. And, he obviously got dogged by a lot of people on it. But I'm just like, I like their podcast. I like listening to some of their takes and things, with what they think about. But that was hard. That was terrible.
You got to take it with a grain of salt. It was the typical Skip Bayless say something outrageous at the right after the championship. So he got attention, and now people are going to listen to their show and listen to their stuff just so they can nitpick and analyze. So he did his job. He got people's attention.
That's true. That's a good point.
I am ready to move on to the tradition like no other here to keep this moving.
That's right.
Let's go, friends.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, as an avid golfer myself, this is one of my favorite weekends. I know we said that about March Madness, but I think this truly begins golf season for me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Let's let Trey kind of introduce this because Trey, like you said, Trey is the golfer of the group.
Well,
just to kind of touch on some things, Trent golfs too occasionally and stuff, and I just happen to beat them from time to time, but that's just I don't even own clubs.
Oh my
when
gosh.
he loses 5 balls on the first hole, what'd you
Right.
get, Ty?
Not true.
Give me a 5.
Not
Give
true.
me
Yeah.
Nope. It was my handicap.
Give me
I mean, Tyler had about 20 breakfast balls in the first hole.
I didn't get any
Don't even know
breakfast.
what that means.
I didn't either. I didn't get any breakfast. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh,
that
jeez.
sounds-
Guys.
Is it like hash browns with cheese? Are those breakfast balls?
Oh, my gosh.
So,
Google
Trey,
it, figure it out, and get back to me.
Trey, before we get into the piece that you're speaking about, can we give the rundown of what we are going to do? Because I think we need to get some picks going here.
Oh, yeah.
Live so we can discuss it, but let's get some picks going here. What we typically do, if you guys have followed us, is we each like to pick a winner. We each like to pick a top 5 and a top 10, and then this will be new this year, where we pick somebody who we feel could surprise. Granted, it could be a big name person, but we usually look at our surprise, or what we're going to do for our surprise is look at something being plus 3,000 or more.
Oh, 3,000. That's easy, man.
Wow.
Okay, do you want to bump it up more? I mean, we can bump it up to plus 5,000.
I think it should be at least 10,000.
It can't be. No, it can't.
Nah,
no.
let's.
I already have my bets
pick.
in. Like I can't. And I did. I listened to the over 3.
All right, so let's get this rolling here. What do you prefer to start with? You prefer to start with winners across the board?
Yeah.
Trey, do you want to talk about your thing though? The
just so I can give you an idea as to like why I made some of the picks I made and stuff. There's something in golf that you hear a lot. It's called strokes gained. It's a statistic that kind of breaks down how golfers perform in different aspects of golf, from the tee box, the putting green, around the green, in the rough, etc. You'll hear it a lot, especially watching the broadcast and stuff. But just to give a definition of what strokes gained actually is, let me find it here for you. So, it is a term growing influence across blah blah blah. This is from golf.com. Strokes gained is a way of analyzing where a player sits when comparing every aspect of their performance with the players and the rest of the field. This can be done in a multitude of ways: off the tee, approach, tee to green, etc. So essentially what it is, it's a guy he's a professor at Columbia named Mark Brody. And in 2007, a company called Acros and ShotLink gave all the data from every single shot that any professional golfer made in 2007, gave all that data to Columbia University, and he came up with this formula and came up with this and a statistic called strokes gained, which is like the ultimate indicator of how well a person's playing in different parts of their game. So anyway, yeah, that's the thing that carries the most weight with me when I'm making my picks is the strokes gained stat.
Sweet. All right, so let's get into our Masters picks. Kind of looking at some winners. Like Trent mentioned, we do a top 10, top 5, a winner, and then what would you say we're doing a surprise one?
A surprise winner, like one that it's gonna. You put a small wager on it, you could really positively impact your bankroll with just that.
All right, well, let's start off with. You want to start with top 10?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Well, okay, you want to do top 10 first?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Why the heck not?
Yeah.
All right.
You guys want me to lead it off?
Lead us
Yeah,
off.
start us off, Trent.
So my top 10 pick will be it'll be Max Homa
Good one.
at plus 240. is what I have.
Plus 240. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's really come into his own the last couple seasons. I think he drives the ball well and far. He's top 10 in strokes gained around the greens, which is a huge thing at Augusta. And with Augusta getting, I think it was 2 inches of rain in the last week, the long hitters are going to be the ones that have the advantage here. So they're not going to get rollouts on the fairway, so you got to actually carry it the distance in order to get the advantage.
Okay.
Good insight there, Trey. Good insight.
Yeah.
Trent, where are you going?
All right, top 10. My top 10, I guess some would say maybe, okay, kind of predictable, but still for over or at plus 200. I'm going JT. I'm going Justin Thomas at plus 200 for a top 10 finish.
Okay. All right. I am going with Canada's own Corey Connors.
Wow, okay.
Plus 400. Like I told you guys, we've talked about PGA. Had to put on my big boy pants to do some studying, to look into some.
I was just saying that's a pretty adult bet there, Tyler.
Thank you. I know. It is plus 400. Looking at some of the things, as of recently, he did win the Texas Valero Open. As of recently, he was 15 under par to win by 1 stroke. So as a top 10, I mean, it's plus 400. It was a guy that I hadn't, known a whole lot of until I really kind of looked into it. I saw some other people discuss Masters things online, and I try to follow some of, what people say and listen to and, look into that stuff too. So Corey Connors was the guy that came up with a couple different people that I was listening to. And I said, all right, let me give it a shot. Let me check it out, and I don't know, plus 400, I thought for a top 10 finish wasn't too shabby for me.
Not bad at all. That's a good pick. I like that.
Thank you. All right, moving into, let's go, what are we at? Top 5, huh?
Correct.
Top 5.
All right.
I guess I'm leading us off here.
Yep.
This is a tough one. I think there's a lot of guys that I would consider taking in the top 5. For me, just off of odds and I think chances of making it there, I'm going Colin Morikawa. Plus 450 odds to make the top 5.
Okay. I was watching him tonight on the par 3.
What a fun thing to watch, isn't it?
Yeah,
but a guy getting back-to-back aces today.
Yeah.
Seamus, I think his name was.
Seamus.
Sorry, read it. Didn't listen to it.
Oh boy.
Pretty impressive.
Oh man,
right.
Seamus.
Now we got to put the explicit tag on again.
Yeah, there you
go. I'm just
Why?
kidding.
What did I say?
Seamus.
That's not offensive.
I'm just kidding.
I would take could be offensive.
Oh my goodness. It's Seamus. I saw it come up on a tweet. I didn't actually watch it. Okay.
It's the accent.
Moving on.
Seamus.
Jeez.
I believe it's Irish, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Trent. Get with the times here.
Sorry, yeah. All right. Top 5 finish. Top 5 finish. He's going to come close. He's going to come close, but he's not going to get it. And I'm going Tony Finau.
Big Tone.
Yeah. I like his game. Sometimes.
I do too.
Big Tone and Seamus.
Oh, boy. Okay. Let's keep moving. Tyler, top 5?
All right, my top 5. I am going with the controversial Cam Smith.
Ooh.
Top 5, he is plus 550. Looking at what he's done recently, all right, he hasn't been too bad. I believe he is 6th overall right now, globally ranked. In 2023, he's finished 6th, 26th, 29th. And then back in 2022, he had finished 5th, 1st, 42nd, and 22nd. So I know he's controversial, which we'll talk about a little bit of live stuff, if we have some time here at the end. But I'm going with Cam Smith at plus 550 as a top 5 golfer.
All right, let's go with our winner.
All right, for me, this was kind of, I wouldn't say a no-brainer, but I'm pretty confident in it, and I really do think it could manifest is the word I was looking for. I'm going with a guy that's won it there before.
Okay.
Oh no!
He's finally peaking at the right time. 3 things. He's in 3 statistics in the top 10 that you need to be successful in to win at Masters. Jordan Spieth.
Oh. Well, look, listen, I'm not changing it. Hold on, do we all have Jordan Spieth?
Mine is Jordan Spieth.
That was mine too.
No way. Holy crap.
My card is for, hold on.
That is weird. There was no, like, just so everybody understands, there was no discussion of this.
No, not at all.
Absolutely no discussion. My card was placed, was it April 3rd at 9:53 p.m.
What'd you get your odds at?
Jordan Spieth at plus 2,100.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. That's better than me.
Yeah, what'd you get, Trey?
I got plus 1,600.
Well, I got plus 18.
He's plus 18 still at this point on DraftKings.
What the heck?
Yeah.
I guess I got to double down, huh? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, double down.
Dude, I can't believe that we actually all have the same winner here.
Yeah.
I mean,
so let me go over.
I had a whole spiel, dude. I was literally going to call him Mr. Easter Weekend. I mean, the dude wins on Easter weekend. If you looked into it, I think he has 2 championships on Easter weekend.
Yeah, let me go over the reasons why I went with Jordan Spieth. So let's talk about his success at Augusta. He has a tied for second in 2014, a win in 2015, tied for second in 2016, third in 2018, and third in 2021.
Okay.
And then in 2017, just for S's and G's, he was tied for 11. So he's a ton of success at Augusta.
That is shots gained, strokes gained, right?
Yeah.
Strokes gained.
Well,
yes.
You kind of lead me into my next point. The last 15 winners, I think, at Augusta were in the top 10 in these 3 categories, and it's strokes gained around the green, which he's number 2 in, driving distance, which I think he's actually 10, and driving accuracy, which he's like, I think 6 or 7.
Wow.
So those 3 statistics, his success at Augusta National and him playing well at the right time, and Easter weekend.
Mr. Easter, man. Like I said, man, I had a whole spiel.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Well, at least it's good that we're all on the same thing. Maybe we should do something with that.
So
you know what I mean?
Up the ante a little bit here.
Yeah.
Can we also
play the lottery?
Point out this statistic is only 3 times in the Masters history has there been a repeat champion back to back.
Oh.
You talking about Scotty Scheffler?
No, yeah, so like a lot of people will be on him. He's the favorite.
Yeah.
He's the favorite in terms of the odds. I'm not saying he can't do it, because the guy's incredible.
You said there's never been a repeat.
Nope, I said
only 3 repeats.
Only three repeats. That was Jack Nicklaus,
Tiger,
Nick Faldo, and Tiger Woods.
Okay.
It was the only 3 guys to actually repeat. So that went in a little bit into my analysis as to where I was going to be placing my money, but I'm on the Spieth train. So
there was
Spieth. There you go.
Here's one little thing.
Wonder how that sounds on the audio.
To play devil's advocate on the Jordan Spieth, which I don't want to do, but it was something that is weighing in the back of my mind. 24 of the last 25 Masters winners the previous year at least made the cut. Jordan Spieth didn't make the cut last year.
Yeah, I did. That was one thing that stuck out. I can second that. I did see that today.
But yeah, I don't. I think that's just a coincidence in my eyes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, let's go surprise winner.
All right.
All right.
And what do we say? Plus 3,000 and better, or are we going higher than that? Are we good with plus 3,000?
I think the text said 3,000 or higher.
Okay, I'm good with that.
So, hey, before you tell us your person, tell us what your odds are.
You guys, you have never heard of this guy in your life, I'm sure.
I probably have. I mean, I play a lot of golf.
Yeah, his odds are plus 30,000.
30.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow. So
you really took those. He said 3, not 30.
I know.
Okay.
I might have read the text wrong, but I'm sticking with it. So, I went with Sepp Straka.
Wow. Okay.
Sepp Straka.
Yep.
It's quite a name.
Okay.
Yep. So every I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 bets on the winner.
Okay.
Wow.
I also took the top 10 of the same people that I bet as the winner.
That's
so,
good.
Wow.
His top 10 is plus 1,600.
Trey was analyzing the stroke game of these guys. I mean, wait, strokes game? Sorry.
Oh, God.
Is Musselman
Mac?
caddying?
Hey.
Oh, man.
Goodness. All right, so mine's a little
Grayson
bit more
Rod, I don't know.
You definitely heard of this guy. He's one of my favorite guys to watch golf. It's Brooks Koepka.
Okay. All right.
At 4,400.
4,400. Okay.
Yeah, 4,400.
Thanks for saying your person first. I'm supposed to say odds first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just
Okay.
kidding. I'm
Yeah,
just
you
kidding.
totally
Wow.
broke the rules, Trent.
Man. So
So-
not exhilarating.
Yeah, so Brooks Koepka, 4,400 odds. I think he's due. To win one. I think his last closest was when he lost to Phil. I might be wrong with that, but yeah. So and don't forget, 17 of the last 20 Masters winners, I believe, are now live golfers. So
Nah.
yeah, I believe that was the statistic tonight given.
17 of the last 20.
You also know
You gotta
that
figure.
the cream rises to the Koepka.
Oh boy,
You say Kupka?
Yeah. Koepka.
It was-
Koepka? Koepka.
Koepka.
Koepka?
Yes.
Okay, Seamus. I don't want to hear it there. You got no room to talk, Seamus.
Brooksy's bringing it home, boys.
All right, you guys
All right,
ready?
Tyler, biggest surprise. Let's go.
All right. So I'll stick with the rules. My odds are 4,500.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Getting away.
4,500. And I am going with Happy Gilmore's caddy.
Oh, I know it.
Zalatoris.
Yes.
That's who I'm going with,
Wow.
my surprise winner. I know he has not been golfing the greatest. However, he has recently overcome the stomach bug that he had to withdraw from, I think, in the last tournament here. So he's not doing too bad. He's young. I don't know. He's always up in competition here too. So we'll see. I mean, if he can get to full strength, barring any weakness, or because I believe the one article I had read said he even lost like 7 pounds from some stomach bug issue or something. But
He didn't have much to lose.
and that's what I'm saying. So, barring something in terms of weakness, but he was in 6th last year in the Masters, and then I think 2 years ago he was runner-up. So, I don't know. That's my surprise. Like I said, he was 4,500, but
I like it.
we'll see what happens.
Willie Z.
Don't like mine, huh, Trey? Okay, that's fine. She's gonna-
Yeah,
all
I
right.
like it.
Couple.
I just think that those guys are very big name and potential winners for those odds. It's crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, couple things out there if you want to take advantage of them. For the ringer specials on FanDuel Sportsbook, you can get. They might have changed now, but you get a 50% boost. It was plus 195, but with your boost, you get it to plus 295. Tiger Woods to make the cut and Spieth to finish in the top 20 is for plus 294. So might be a nice little thing to look at. That is under the ringer specials, and you do get a 50% profit boost.
Okay, pretty cool.
I also took the Masters boost, the Tim the Tatman Masters boost that is titled on FanDuel. Scotty Scheffler,
Not
Max
to be
Homa.
confused with Tim the Toolman.
Scotty Scheffler, Max Homa, and Tiger Woods to all make the cut at plus 150. So those were two that really jumped out to me that I thought, I really like the Tiger Woods to make the cut and Jordan Spieth to finish top 20.
Sure.
So
I got it. It's funny you said that you took the Tim the Tap Man parlay, Trent. Because I took Bob Does Sports Parlay on DraftKings.
On DraftKings?
I think it was. Yep. Yeah.
I think I might have taken that too.
The Bob, and shout out to Bob Does Sports, because I'll tell you right now, that is the most entertaining, one of the most entertaining golf YouTube channels out there. I watch it almost every night. So, but yeah, that parlay was Scotty Scheffler to make the top 10, Sam Burns to make the top 20, and Keegan Bradley to make the top 30, all for plus 767 odds.
Okay.
I don't know if I can find that. It's probably not there anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's like stealing candy from a baby if you took that one.
You love these weird phrases.
Yeah.
Loves them.
All right.
Loves them so much.
I think we got a good long weekend. Don't shy away from examining the matchups too.
Oh yeah.
I like when you get the 3-way matchups throughout. You get some decent odds on some guys there that you could take advantage of. So something that I would keep an eye on. If I find any, obviously I'll be sharing them with you guys, and if we can figure out a way to share them with everybody, we will.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
All right. Are we looking to move into our last little final talking points here and wrap this up?
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, I do want to just quickly touch on hockey. I have been capping hockey pretty hardcore here over the last couple weeks, more so in preparation for, number one, the playoffs, and number two, the fact that college basketball is over. You know, just to kind of give us something a little bit. You know, we don't do a whole lot of NBA betting. So I wanted to touch on that. So it gives us kind of an alternate, but I've been big with the shots on goal stuff. Possible history tonight. Looking at Connor McDavid, who's currently right now playing. He's at 147 points right now. He needs 3 points tonight to eclipse 150. So just, you know, if anybody wants to check that out. But he's been a guy I've been betting on a lot. So I think I mentioned before the teams I kind of look at shots on goal, but have already hit one tonight where I actually took Kucherov from the Lightning under 3.5 shots, which is very unusual for me. I'm a big over shots on goal guy. But if you really look at the Lightning statistics and who they were actually playing against, which was the Rangers tonight, the Rangers are 7th in shots on goal, which is pretty high. And Kucherov was, 4, 3, 2 here and there. So I actually took under 3.5. He ended up with 1. So that hit already. And I also took, I believe it was Connor McDavid over 3.5 tonight. And after the first period, he's at 3. So
heck yeah.
Let's go, Connor.
That's right.
But yeah, so
I'm glad.
What's that?
So I'm glad one of us caps these like off sports that we don't really pay attention to. You know what I mean? I know you pay attention to it, but it's good to have someone that has a lot of insight. You know what I mean? That you can trust.
I mean, you pick your guys. You know what I mean? It's not like I pick my teams and I pick my guys. Hockey's tough sometimes with over/under stuff, and also even like the puck line with stuff. But you can really, if you really dig into, the odds aren't always the greatest. But at the same time, if you can just kind of touch on them a little bit, and maybe even sometimes parlay them with something else, you know what I mean? Maybe parlay your shots on goal that might be an odds of like 180, minus 180, and maybe pair it with like a baseball bet you feel really comfortable about to get it plus money.
Right.
So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I'll continue to put those out there. We are looking at bringing a special guest on for the hockey playoffs too. We're still in discussions with that individual, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to touch on. But some of the other discussions just to kind of think about is, I was in discussion with some people today is there's some people that refuse to cheer for live golfers and feel that they're doing a disservice to the game. And the discussion became then, okay, disservice to this, and then I brought up, what about the XFL? What about the USFL and these other leagues that kind of are competition for some of these professional sports? Are you against those? And that was kind of the debate, and I didn't know what you guys had, if you guys had any input or thoughts into that stuff. But
I'm gonna touch base on it quick for you. I understand the background of Live, the money connections is probably what usually brings out controversy sometimes. But I mean, I just look at the advice that everyone's giving Lamar Jackson is go get your bag, right? Go get paid, take care of you, yourself, and your family and your future. your future family members. So
Yep.
let these guys go make their money. They're doing a sport. I mean, they're getting to play their sport professionally. I know there's tradition, but you know what? It's kind of like what we're saying is modernize the game. And I think Liv pushed the PGA to do some of that. So give them bigger purses for winners. You know, I love it for the sport. Whether you sit there and say, "Oh, but the money." Well, I'm sure those Live golfers aren't the only ones that have money coming from some different places.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe
Well,
people would find
it's funny you say that, Trent, because it's all from the Saudi whatever fund. The Saudi.
Yeah, we don't have to get specific, but let's just
No. Because what I'm saying is the PGA is so against the players receiving money from that. But guess what? The PGA currently still has golf tournaments in their schedule that is funded by the Saudis.
Okay.
So it just doesn't.
It doesn't add up.
It's selective anger in my eyes, and ultimately, what
for me.
Well, yeah, and ultimately, what it is they're threatened.
Yep.
They're threatened by, exactly. And I love competition. I think it creates better product.
Yep.
And that's exactly what the Live Golf League did. Is they are creating a better product from the PGA.
Yeah.
The PGA had to answer it. So what are they doing? They're giving bigger purses, bigger payouts, different types of setups of tournaments, and I think it's a good thing.
That was my argument too. Is like, I brought up XFL. It's like, okay, well, is it the same competition? No, and they're not trying to be the NFL, But at the same time, it's still an opportunity to play. It's still an opportunity to make some sort of money,
and it's something different.
Whatever it is, yeah, exactly. And that's, I don't know, I think sometimes you get into where companies and especially athletics. I mean, you can get really big, and a lot of these leagues are really big.
I mean, the NFL is so big that I don't see how it fails.
Right,
to be honest with you, I don't quite put the XFL argument anywhere close to the Live in terms of, because it's the money.
Right.
The thing is, I love the XFL because, I mean, heck, it gives me a reason to, on these slower nights in sports, to turn on maybe, an XFL football game. And you know what? You're seeing some guys that you don't know a whole lot of them, but you see some names that were like, oh my gosh, I remember that guy playing in the NFL. I remember that guy playing here in college. And it gives them another chance to play. And I love that. But Live is 100% the money. PGA thought they had a monopoly, and then all of a sudden their players started leaving left and right, and they didn't like it, so they had to respond.
Yeah.
But
that's all I wanted to really bring up. But
one last thing to add on to the Live PGA thing is ultimately, if the PGA was smart, they'd capitalize and they would create a Live PGA event, which would make them so much more money. Think about that.
Yeah.
People would that would be probably the top selling golf event in history.
Absolutely.
If they did a Live versus PGA, like almost like a Ryder Cup style tournament, you know what I mean? And you know what? I guarantee you, and maybe not in the next year or two, but eventually that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, we'll get there. All right. Well, any final thoughts? Other than that, appreciate you guys listening.
I have one thing. I actually did have something. UFC.
Adesanya.
Jorge Masvidal plus 360 against Gilbert Burns. I'm going Jorge Masvidal to pull that upset off.
Just flat out win?
Flat out win.
Okay.
And Trey, you might be on Adesanya, but it looks like we're going to be on opposite ends. I think Alex Pereira.
There's no way.
Alex Pereira is the champion. I believe he's the only person to not only beat Israel Adesanya, not just once, but 2 times, maybe 3 in the career.
I think it was 3 total times.
He has Israel Adesanya's number, and unless the UFC wants to see a trilogy in their league, then I could see it happening. But the fact that you can get Pereira at plus 110, I really, really like that.
I think you're going to see the end of Izzy here very soon.
I do too.
I think he's on a downward slope.
I think you're seeing a changing of the guard here across all weight classes in terms of who was it that just lost the other? Usman just lost for 2 times in a row. Never saw that happening.
Right.
most people
especially
right
by
now
a
are saying
decision the second time.
saying the same thing about Izzy, Nagano. I mean, Nagano gave it up, being hard-headed, but so I just like those two picks. I really like Jorge Masvidal, Alex Pereira. The other one, don't sleep on. It's an earlier fight, and I know this guy is kind of up there, but I like Kelvin Gastelum. You can get him at -130 against Chris Curtis. So that's all. That's just some things to look at Saturday in case you're looking for something besides baseball.
Absolutely. One other thing I did forget to mention earlier, I would like to give a shout out to at Caden Hooks on Twitter. Congratulations.
That's right.
Caden Hooks actually won our first competition, our first prize that we're giving out, and he won the Bearded Baker bracket. So, which this year of all years was not an easy bracket to win. So shout out to him. Congratulations. He's got a shirt, wristband, and sticker on the way. So hopefully you enjoy that stuff. But
shirt I'm jealous of. That's a good looking shirt.
We appreciate everybody that actually participated too. I mean, we had over 40, close to 50 people, engaged, and I think that was pretty cool to kind of get everybody involved because it is a fun competition. So it's neat to see who's picking what and who's doing what, and see who can actually find some teams to survive. But so congratulations at Caden Hooks. Follow him on Twitter. But shout out to him. So other than that, thank you, everybody, for listening. Appreciate it. And we will see you next week with some new topics on sports. Again, tweet us. Let us know if there's anything you ever want to hear. Discuss, some input and things like that. I'm more than happy to engage. Check our website out, beardedbakerbrothers.com. You can see all our different picks. Our Twitter feed actually updates live on there. You can find our picks. You can find our broadcasts and stuff on there as well. So, check us out, beardedbakerbrothers.com. But other than that, Trey, it's been real.
Yeah, take it easy, guys. Enjoy the Masters. Enjoy UFC. Have a good weekend.
All right. See ya.